And good evening, everybody. Welcome to this introduction to GeoGebra Classroom. My name is Tim. I'm the Professional Development Director at GeoGebra, and I am really excited to share with you GeoGebra Classroom tonight. GeoGebra Classroom is a brand new virtual interface that GeoGebra just released 2 days ago on Tuesday. All right. It's a very powerful platform, the very beginning stages. At the moment, GeoGebra Classroom allows you to assign interactive and engaging tasks for students. You can view live updated progress of all students working on a task, which is really cool. Every 1 or 2 seconds, you'll see thumbnail changes. It's really awesome. All right. You can view which tasks students have started. Some tasks students may have not started yet. You can poll the entire class. You can ask the entire class questions and see all student answers instantly. And if you ever want to display your screen as a teacher, perhaps who knows what life is going to throw at us for the fall. I mean, I hope we're back to normal, but there are some schools that may be having a virtual setting of classes. And if that's the case, teachers, you can actually facilitate engaging activities for your students virtually, and you can see your students work without ever having them share their screen with you, which is really cool. Big time saver, very efficient. And again, you can facilitate rich interactive discussions with your students, groups of students, and individuals. So I'm excited to share this with you. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to rock and roll here. So what I'm going to ask all of you here is, I'm actually in the GeoGebra Classroom tutorial showing you right now, but I'm not sure how many of you are watching this YouTube live webinar like on your phone. Maybe you're watching on your computer. I don't know. But I think it would be really awesome if as many people watching live right now, if you could actually hop on your computer, maybe and get this on your phone perhaps, or another alternative, you can kind of do what I'm doing here. You somehow say get the YouTube video on one side, and then you open up a browser like, or another window on the other side, kind of like this. Okay, so we go to geogebra.org here, right? So here I'm at geogebra.org, but over here, but on the left side, I could have the YouTube video going on, because I think it's going to be really powerful for all of us to interact with this system live. Because throughout this webinar here, I'm going to role play the teacher, okay? And each of you who participates here is going to take the role of the student. So by looking at my screen, you'll see what the teacher sees. And from looking at your screen, you will see a student perspective. Now, for the first introduction, I'm going to show you both perspectives here, but I'm hoping more of you will join as students, join the classes that I create tonight here on the GeoGebra platform. Okay, so anyhow, I'm going to find an introductory activity right here. Now, many of you know who've seen GeoGebra before, you know that GeoGebra contains tons and tons of activity. There are thousands, tens of thousands, right? I think there's over 1 million actually, public resources here that you can find. You go to the resources tab over here, and you can find lots of resources by going to that branching diagram, kind of like right here, or you can just browse through the categories like functions, geometry, you know what I mean? But over here though, let me go back for a second. Over here, I'm gonna find the resource. Okay, by resource, I'm meaning activity here. Right, 1 second. A little off, but resources on my profile. I have an activity here that I want to share with each and every one of you. All right, and in this activity, it's an introduction. Okay, here we have a GeoGebra's geometry app, which we're going to play around in for a minute. And I have a question. I'm just simply asking you, let me know where you're from and tell me what time it is right now. Okay, in GeoGebra Classroom, this activity, if I choose to create a class from it, okay, there is a create class button in almost every resource in GeoGebra now that you find. Some of you navigating through have seen, what's that class button doing there, right? Well, if a GeoGebra activity page has at least one app in it, like so, or if it has at least one question, like in this case, I have an open-ended question. And right here, I have a check all that apply question, or it could be multiple choice or check as many as you want kind of a thing. If any GeoGebra activity has any one of these 3 elements, then you can create a GeoGebra class from that activity. And the reason why is because each of these elements, again, elements meaning the app or a question, apps and questions prompt students to do something. They engage the students. They invite the students to come in and build and do something. And so that way, why not you as a teacher be able to see the students' work, if that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, hello from San Jose. Hello, Geraldine. Welcome. Rashid, welcome from Florida. All right, so let's get going. So I'm going to create a class here from this, and I'm going to call it GeoGebra Classroom Webinar Intro. I can retitle it, give it the same title here. And now I'm here. I'm going to role play teacher. Hopefully you role play students will create the class. Now, this is brand new. Okay. Again, I just created a class from a GeoGebra activity that I found. You can create GeoGebra classes from your own activities that you create. You can also create GeoGebra classes from activities that other people have created and that you find on the GeoGebra platform. Okay. So you can also, you may find someone's activity that you like, but you say to yourself, you know, I wish I could change the wording of that question, and maybe I want to just put another app in there. I'm going to show you how to do that tonight as well. We can copy anyone's activity and we can add our own questions or elements to that. It's very, very easy and painless to do. So notice here on my screen, you see a code. Okay. Now this is just a random digit generator, but what you have to do as students in my class, what I'm going to ask you to do now, again, is to go over to, all right. Again, if you're watching out of your phone, I encourage you to get out your computer or like laptop or Chromebook maybe, and kind of be on 2 devices tonight if you can. But if not, that's okay. But again, my screen on the left is going to be the screen of the teacher. And over on the right, I'm going to be the student. And so right here in GeoGebra, again, I don't even have to be signed in. I'm not even signed in as a student, but I'm going to go here to the menu bar. And you'll notice right there, there's a brand new classroom icon on the home page. Okay. Hi, Karen. How are you? All right. Love seeing the comments coming in here. So I want to give you guys 30 seconds to a minute, if you will, to just, if you want to take your computer or Chromebook and set it up in the way that I have, so that your the YouTube video is like on the left side, if you will, and the YouTube video is on the left side, and in your GeoGebra page is on the right side, if that makes sense. I think that'll help you. I'm over here, you know, you're working over here. That way you'll be able to see what I see, and you could also see what you see. We're going to see it. We're going to see the classroom from both the perspective of the teacher and the student. And if you look right here, right, you'll notice that I have a few students in my class already. Thanks for joining, guys. This is awesome. So right now I have Juan Carlos, Elizabeth, Priya, Mike, all these people have joined my class. We'll give some people some time to wait there. But all you have to do as a student here, if you want to join, you are welcome to. If you're hopping in right now, I welcome you to join. All you need to do is go to the classroom icon right here, and then type in that code you see there, SUU8. Again, you don't need to type the space in either, CUSZ. And again, teacher overview page right here, student view on the right. So I'm going to go ahead and join. I'm not going to do anything though. I might, whatever. So join. Then it asked me to type my name. I guess I'll call myself Anonymous. But you all know who I am anyway. Start. So Anonymous is now in. It'll come right in. See how fast that is? It's pretty cool. We have people, thousands of located, tens of thousands of miles apart, from California to Peru to Florida to Saudi Arabia, but you're all joining the class here. It's unbelievable. Okay. So again, I'm a student right here. So I'm going to get rid of my student perspective, if you will. I'm just kind of going to lower a little bit here, and I'm going to stretch out my teacher window, if you will, so you can see more of it. Okay. And so if you look at this here, right, you'll see that, oh, wow. Hang on a second. I just want to get this. It always messes up when I'm presenting for some reason. Right here. By the way, now notice that you all typed in the code to get in my class. A much faster way, Joseph from Indiana. Hello. Hello, Luke from Vermont. Welcome. All right. So another quicker way, please put on a whiteboard. That is a great idea, Hector. You know what? Here's what I'll do. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right here, Another, see, now you went to geogebra.org/classroom and you typed in the code. Another way you could share it with your students is probably better this way. Get this button right up here. This allows you to share the direct link with the students so they don't have to bother typing in the code. If I just copy the link, right, and I'll go to the webinar page right now. I gotta turn my volume down, give me a second. GeoGebra, broadcasting live, here it is right here. Let me just jump in, hang on. So I'm gonna jump it in the chat right there and paste it. So you can get it right there, all right? And I'm going to get rid of that page because I'll be distracting myself there. So, okay, there you go. Again, from GeoGebra's homepage, click on the classroom icon, and then just go right to type in the code and just get in. Or you can copy the URL right there, put it in another browser or another tab window, and you get it right there. Okay, so there's 16 students in my class. I want to see what's going on here. There's 3 tasks here, and look at this. As a teacher, this is what I see. All right, 6 people who are doing the webinar live are actually building within the geometry app here. So Juan Carlos and Elizabeth, Mike, Karen, if you could actually keep adding elements in there, I would love the world to see here what's going on in real time. These thumbnails will update every 1 to 2 seconds. They actually might be doing other tasks probably, that's why they're not changing. But let's see here. Look at this, responses are coming in. Peru, Indonesia, United States. Again, all I asked was that question, where are you from, right? Pretty cool. So there we go. So if everybody who's doing this, would you please go back to task 1 just for a brief moment, if I may ask? And if you're willing, would you please just keep making stuff? You know, just look at what's going on here. Again, people are thousands of miles away from me, and this could be an unfortunate reality in the fall. We don't know what's going to happen with school openings and everything. But if virtual instruction is part of the agenda or the structure for school next year, then this app is a very powerful interface for teachers to use with their students, because these students here are actively engaged, and you know, I can kind of see what's going on here. And by the way, notice I can click on any one student's work. So Elizabeth, I promise I'm not going to pick on you, but see here, this is Elizabeth's work right here. Now, this is, as it says up here, this is just a thumbnail. Elizabeth may have moved these points and lines around at the moment, I don't know, but if I refresh this page, I can see changes in what she might have done. Yeah, I think it might be different, actually, I don't remember. But I can go back here and see right here. Oh, we have more people joining. Welcome, this is awesome. All right, by the way, this button is really cool too. The anonymize button is a very powerful means as a teacher through which you can just hide names. And that way you as a teacher might want to, you know, facilitate a meaningful class discussion about a response to a critical thinking question that you posed. All right, well, now you can show all students' work without a student maybe feeling embarrassed because he or she may have responded incorrectly, or I don't know, you know what I mean? So it's really powerful, okay? I can also, and I could show names, I could hide names, anonymize, you name it, okay? All right, hello, Hector from Bolivia. Cool. So task 2, see we're from Canada, Algeria, Brazil, USA, Indonesia. All right, and so task 3 here, look at this. So it looks here that 2 people are early risers here, and you know, a lot of people, a lot of us in the US, it's evening right now, but you see what I'm saying, right? And by the way, as a teacher, I can see which students answered which items, see? Now, for those of you that are in this class right now, if you would please, would you just check a bunch of, just check and uncheck items, check all, check none, all right? You don't have to check only one box, but I want to show the power of this platform here. Would everybody who's in the class, please go to task 3 just for a brief moment and just start changing your answers at quick speed. I want to see how fast these bars change. Check it out. They're changing there. You can check all, check none. Now, there you go. See, they're going up now because there is like a 10-second delay between what I'm saying and what is being heard. So you see how it kind of is here, right? So imagine polling the class, what do you think? Especially if you're teaching probability and statistics, and like for example, a lot of the simulations that Steve Phelps makes so brilliantly well, you know what? You could throw one of those in there and you can poll the class and say, hey, what do you think the probability of, the ice cream cone going over 50 cents would be? Like in one of Steve's examples he gave here, right? And you can have students, kind of give a reasonable estimate for what they believe. This almost reminds me of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game show, ask the audience kind of a thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool. All right. Hello, Manuel from Los Angeles. Welcome. Again, this is the power of GeoGebra Classroom. Now, I could show correct answers, but you know what? When I wrote this activity, I did not put a correct answer here because, I didn't know what the results were going to be. It's check all that apply, or actually just check one, but I don't know where you're from. The point is, though, if I had denoted a correct answer, the bars would be blue here. But you'll see an example later that which you can show one. So you see right here, and if you're just joining late, that's okay. I'm gonna create a couple classes tonight we could all join. So if you missed coming in the first class, don't worry. You can definitely get into a class a little bit later on. All right, it's pretty cool. And I go back to task one. Let's see if anybody else has made some. Yeah, we got a few more in here. Hector made some sine and cosine waves, right? Looks like Heather made a rhombus of some sort with the, I'm guessing that might be equilateral. I don't know. Ooh, nice, Roger. Regular hexagon. Cool. You see? Now I could see all of this and I see all the changes and no one has to screen share with me. Live updates in real time. This is awesome. Hello from Illinois. Welcome. Awesome. Karen, that is an excellent question. I'm going to read your question, Karen, because after the YouTube live is over, I have to trim off the beginning and the end to make the, the 1 hour video so the chat goes away. So right here, right now there is not a way. I could save this. Could I save the student construction? I believe yes. Now I think this was Elizabeth's. I could go here and I could save it to my profile. I can say, gee, this is Heather's work, and I'll save it, and now I'll get saved right to my profile. Now, Karen, the only reason why I could do that is because when I made this activity, I enabled this menu option to be shown, if that makes sense. But if this menu bar isn't shown, then I can't. Okay, basically the menu being file save. Okay. I could share that with the rest of the class. Like if I wanted to save Karen, the question from Toronto, I'll answer that in 1 second. All right, but I'm gonna finish up because Karen just put a question right after you. I could share this with the rest of the class. Sure, Karen, I could actually go here. I'll go back to my GeoGebra profile here. See, I called it Heather's work. I'm just gonna go here and open it in the app. And then Karen, I would take this URL that I made right here and I would drop it in the Zoom chat or the Google Meet chat, you name it, if that makes sense. Okay. Oh, to answer that question from Toronto, I apologize. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Please forgive me. But right here, let's go. Let me go back to my class here. Oh, by the way, very powerful. I got to show you this. See right here, I have activities on my profile page, but I also have a class. When I make a class out of an activity, I get a brand new thumbnail called class right here. Okay. Luke, give me 1 second. I will answer that question. But let me finish the rest here. But right here, I go back in here and right there. So basically to answer your question, question from Toronto, what you have to do in one of these, I need an individual one, so I'll go in Mike's. You can't drag in here. You have to just highlight the tool and just start, working like this, if that makes sense. Yeah. So Luke, to answer your question right now at the moment, the unfortunate thing I have to tell you is that this is best for live class discussions at the moment, okay? At the moment, there is not an option for student work to save, I guess from the student's perspective. The GeoGebra devs are working on a way for that functionality to come in a later version. Okay, think of this as a first version of updates that will be coming in the months to come. All right. So Luke, long story short, I mean, like the thing is, it's like kind of what Karen's question is. If let's say Mike here, let's say Mike wants to work on this in his own time. Like as soon as Mike closes his browser window from the class, then if he goes back into the class, it's going to prompt him to type in a new name, which means he's got to do brand new work, that kind of thing. So Mike may ask me as a teacher, hey, Tim, could you please just send me my work? I say, sure, Mike. I'll say, hey, Mike's work. I realize it's not efficient. I totally get that. But again, the one thing I know about GeoGebra, having worked with them over the years, is that any app they make gets better over time. Okay, so what you see first is like, yeah, what can we do to make this better? That's the attitude of the team for sure. Okay, yeah. Heather asks, do you create a new class for each activity? Heather, it depends on the context. Okay, your question actually is a natural segue to what I want to show you next. All right, so I'm gonna get out of the class here. And by the way, ooh, nice inequality there, Elizabeth. I like it. All right, so there it is. So let me get out of the class. By the way, that class will be there forever. I will never delete it. So because if you delete a class and try to get in, it's like, what are you talking about? And by the way, many of you know how to make folders on your GeoGebra profile page, like I have folders here. So I can take this class that I made with all of you, and I could drag it in my classroom demo folder, and it will be there. Well, sometimes it likes this, but I'm just going to go here and hit move to, and I'll just go to, just like you do in Google Drive. It's the same logic. Done. And now that class is in my demo thing. Okay, demo folder. I should my GeoGebra Classroom demo folder. So yeah. Karen, if you were able to save your work, it did it to your personal profile then. Many districts allow students to have GeoGebra accounts, and if they do, I think that's great. The student can save their work to their profile page right on the spot. Okay, but I've worked with teachers in districts where data privacy is a very, very strict and big thing. So especially for elementary and middle school students under the age of like 12 or 13 or something. And so for that, by the way, for that, GeoGebra does have a privacy statement, with that. They deal with that all the time with schools of education, ministries of education in Europe. So if that's the case with you in your district, send me an email, tim@geogebra.org, and I'll send it to the appropriate person who can give you the privacy statement for sure. I just don't remember the address off the top of my head. But if you send it to me, I'll get it to the right person. Okay. Yeah. So now to answer, Heather O'Brien asked an awesome question. Do you create a new class for each activity? And again, it's totally up to you. But Heather, sometimes I like to have single activities and then I'm going to show you how to assign a book. Okay. So what you saw there was an activity. Okay. But now here, I want to show you what I have is a book. Okay. And so I'm actually going to drop the link to this book in the YouTube. All right, give me a minute because I just have to go to YouTube here. I apologize. I'm going to drop it in the chat here in the live. There it is. Get right out of there. Okay. Let's see here. This is a particular sample investigation of say, of having students explore a geometric transformation going from 2D to 3D. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Now, this is a book. Now, Heather, this book contains 6 individual activities. Now, if you look at this here, I'm not going to make a class yet, but I want you to see something here. All right, the first activity contains an app and a question. So there's 1, 2 task items. This has 2 task items. The next one here has another app and another question. So two items and 2 items. And it looks like, wow, another 2 items. So this is going to become 6 tasks in my class. And so again, anywhere you see kind of like this is what you're going to be doing in a second, right? In the class, anywhere you're going to be spinning about the line, making surfaces of revolution, right? And forming some and having fun playing around. So anything that you see here, you're going to see what it looks like. So you're going to have a class now with a lot of tasks. So in the first 20 minutes of this webinar, we created a GeoGebra class from a single activity. What we're going to do now is create a single class from a GeoGebra book, which is a collection of GeoGebra activities. Watch what happens when I do. I'm going to create a class. I'm going to have you join. So this will be my class, 2D to 3D, what's going on? I'll keep the title, I'll create it. And so if you want to go ahead and join my class, feel free to type in the code. Or as a courtesy to all of you, I will save you the trouble of typing in the code. I'll just copy the link and paste it in the YouTube chat. Okay, right now. There it is. Okay. Yeah, Elizabeth, I love the fact that you could put the classrooms in the folders. Yeah, that is like a teacher's dream come true. I mean, organization is key. Like if I personally, in my years of student teaching in the fall of 2001, if I learned how to organize better, I could have left the building a lot earlier for sure. Karen's in, Mike's in, welcome everybody. Oh yeah, that's fast. Okay. Again, if you're watching, if you're joining us live, coming in late, welcome, it's okay. I strongly suggest keeping the YouTube video on your phone or on one tab of your browser, say, and I would strongly recommend opening up a brand new GeoGebra window on the other side. Again, if you're joining us really quickly, you want to just jump right in. I'm going to have you do it right now. What you're going to do is just go to GeoGebra's homepage, and you're going to go to where it says Classroom. Okay, go to, again, this is the teacher, the tasks overview page. This is the all the students go to Classroom, which is what you're kind of doing right here. You go to Classroom and you type in that code, SUTF. Again, I don't think it's not even case sensitive. I'll do it lowercase just to prove it. SUTF and what? No space, MSXY. And I'll join. Oh, autocorrect here. I was saying stuff. SUTF MSXY. And it looks like somebody typed in the code as a name accidentally. That's okay. That's okay. I'll try to pronounce your name later. Did I get that right? Yeah. So I'll say anonymous, but you all know me. Anyway. Oops. Ooh. What's going on? Let me try my real name. Maybe I typed in it correctly. Let me try it again. SUT, or maybe it is case sensitive. I don't know. SUTF MSXY. Ah, there we go. That's weird. Anonymous. Not sure what happened there, but I'm in. But notice here, look at what use the students see, right? To answer your question, Heather, right? You see it broken up, and I think GeoGebra books help you organize activities for students this way in manageable tasks. Because if I put all the tasks in one single activity page, it's like crazily vertical. And like, wait, you got to scroll down 8,000 miles. You don't want to do that. Okay. So right here, I can say, okay, I can slide it. Gee, what does it look like? What's going on? So as a student, now I just finished my first task. Okay. Farshid, the system would allow have a co-host, co-teaching model. Yes, that suggestion has been brought to the devs' attention, and they know about that. Okay, trust me. GeoGebra has listened to lots of teachers. They've done case studies. There's teachers that have tested this all over the globe, and that is a pretty big request to be able to have, like, say, 2 teachers be able to access the same class. The devs know about that, and they're aware of it, and they will be brainstorming that in the next several weeks and months for sure. Okay. Hello, Juan Carlos. All right, cool. So let's go see what you're all doing. I'm curious now. Working in 3D all over the globe, we could see what everybody's doing. This is just awesome. All right, hang on. Let's get this out. Let me just get Safari out of here. And we'll go back into Chrome. Here we go. All right. So now as a teacher, check out what I see. 18 out of 24 students have started the first task. Let's see. This is how they were left. Apparently, I guess most people were able to spin that 2-dimensional figure around to get a 3D surface of revolution, it looks like. Right? Task 2. Now in task 2, it's like, I'm just asking you what you see. And the cool part is is that, activities like these, I mean, sure, as a teacher, you could use it for having students complete, step by step, hey, construct this, what do you notice? That's one way you could use it, I guess. I know I have lots of activities like that have a lot more scaffolding, but I think this interface is way more powerful for facilitating discussions where students are not immediately sure what's going on, right? Notice in task 1, I did not say, watch the curve spin around the line. No, I'm asking you to describe for me what's going on. Oh, I see something spinning, if that makes sense, you know? But of course, all of you are answering it like math teachers because you know how to answer it, right? But it's way more fun when you see students respond to something like this, where they might not have the perfect words, if you will, But yeah, so right here in task 3, look at this. Isn't this awesome? Oh, now now sometimes teachers are like, wait a minute, Tim, this task's overview page is cool, but like, how is it that I could, and by the way, could everybody go to task 3 again? I want to see these 3D changes in real time. I want to see how fast or slow it is. This will be interesting. I mean, they will change. If you go back to task 3, and if you could just move points around, please, just change the cross section. We'll start seeing all these crazy, looking paraboloid things or hyperboloids or who knows. But I want to challenge everybody watching this webinar right here. If you're in the class, would you please go back to task 3? And would you make a simple geometric solid? I mean, I'm talking simple. These to me look way, way, way too complex. And sometimes, again, you're role playing the student, I'll role play the teacher. Can you make me a solid that's like wicked simple? Very simple. Go right ahead. How about, I'll give you a hint. How about a solid that I could find in one of those teacher manipulative, like in the math closets down the hall, it's very dusty. And they have all those like 3D solids in the box, right? When you start talking about volume and surface area and stuff. But would you be willing to make a cross section that creates a surface of revolution that's very, very simple? Like very simple. Yeah, Roger's getting closer to it there. I see it, Roger. Yeah, that's a piece of definitely a piece of something else. Yeah, Manuel, we're getting there. Luke, there we go. Let's see what Luke made here. Oh, it's looking like something very familiar. Not quite though. Again, there's no right or wrong here. No right or wrong. But let's see. Manuel, gosh, that looks like a cylinder, doesn't it? Yeah. And so again, notice here, like you weren't sure what you had to make. All I just said is make something that looks very simple. Again, that's open to interpretation. Karen here made a cone, a right circular cone, right? And Manuel here made a cylinder. I mean, and Roger made a cylinder, but the typical things, and Geraldine looks like she made a frustum of a cone, right? But yeah. But you see what I'm saying? It's like, what an awesome tool for students to use to explore cross-section and surface of revolution, right? Again, if my students are home for part of the time next year and we need to still have class, you know what? Over a Zoom call or over a Google Meet or whatever, this could be powerful. And again, you don't have to screen share. None of you has to screen share with me here. Pretty neat, right? And so in task 4, it looks like kind of a wrapped candy. Nice, Elizabeth. Now you're making me hungry. So it's pretty cool, right? And so you see here, to answer, let me go back up the chat here. To answer Heather's question, you see, Heather, I made one single class for all of these tasks. There are 16 tasks in here. That's a lot. But for you as the student now, what Heather and everybody else in my class sees as a student, the student is seeing this, all right, which obviously you have in front of you. You see, Heather, now for a teacher, it looks like a kind of an overview board where I have all the tasks splitting up and I see all the answers. But for a student, that would give a student a headache. But for a student right here, everything, anything, any element that is an app or a question automatically gets denoted with the label task. And so here you go. This is what it looks like. I have tasks. I can work on any tasks that I want. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how it kind of rolls here, if you will. All right. So yeah. And so anytime you go back to the overview page, this is what it looks like here, if you will. Okay. And so right now, again, we the simple solids. If you look through the red, I'm not going to go through all of these tasks because the hour is not going to allow for that. But you could see this is an example of a collection of activities I put into a book to kind of make a gradual progression of class, if you will. Now, Heather, you might want to take this particular activity that you had, and you might want to actually take the first 3 items and make one class out of it, and then take the second 3 items and make another class out of it. Totally your call. Or some teachers might want to make 6 classes out of all things. I mean, that might be a lot of work, but again, every teacher is different. So you just need to do what works best for you. And most importantly, of course, as we all know, your students. All right. So I want to show you something else too, because when you are working with students live, you may think, wait a minute, what was the text I wrote? I don't see the original question. At any time, you can go back up here. If you go back and hit view original right here, this will take you to the original activity from which the class was created. All right. So just to show you here, in this case, I should say the book, because I made this class, GeoGebra class, out of a book. So if I go back to view original, right, it went from, it actually brought me to a new tab, 2D to 3D. I just, oh, wait, okay, right. Got it. All right, pretty neat. All right, and then I go back here, and other tab has my class in it. Okay, let me see if there's more questions here. Yeah. Yes, Farshid. Nice. Says connects very nicely with the 5 practices and track principles. I wholeheartedly agree with you, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, and this interface, again, this is a first version. They're going to add more features to this over time. All right. Again, I can't predict the time, because when they say soon, I think of that scene from The Office, the U.S. version of The Office with Kevin Malone and Pam Beesly, and she says, "Come back soon, 3 weeks." You know what I mean? But no, the devs have been working very diligently on this, and they know that this is GeoGebra wishes they could have had this come out in March, because, oh my gosh, look how that would have been when all the COVID craziness and unfortunate circumstances all started. If we add a new activity to our book, what will happen to our class? Ooh, that is a great question. Want to try it and see what happens? Let's do it. All right, so let me go back to the original activity, right? Here we go. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? Can you still identify the student's work though it's anonymized? Geraldine, yes, you can. Don't worry, DS, I'm gonna get right back to your question. The way you do it is at any time. Let me go back to the class. Where'd the class go is the question. Here it is, tasks overview. Task 1, I hit the anonymous button up here. Show name, and then the anonymous button turns into a show names button. So now I don't know who's who, and most people who are watching probably don't know who's who, because they all look the same, right? You couldn't move it. But the point is, there it is right there. Okay, and so for class discussion, of course, you want to show this to the class when you screen share, then yeah, you want to anonymize names, because students don't want to feel embarrassed if they get something wrong, for example. So now, if we add a new activity to our book, what happens to our class? I love that question. I was hoping one of you would ask, and DS asked, so I'm so glad. Watch this. So, okay, I was going to do this next, but you guys kind of took it from me. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go here, right? I'm going to go to 2D, 3. I'm going to go to view original. I'm in the class. As a teacher, if you want to add activities to the class, well, let's see. We'll view original. I'm excited. Yeah. Okay, so let's add some more stuff. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to the 3 dots. I'm going to edit book. Now you need to know how to edit an activity or edit a book. So I'm going to edit the book here. All right. Now I'm going to add a chapter here. I'm going to add let's add a new chapter. I'll call it additional. I'll call it challenge. I don't know if it's going to be a challenge or not, but I just felt like calling it challenge. All right. Challenge. Let's see. Let me add an activity here. I'm going to go back and find, let me see here. You know what? Nah, you know, here's what I'm going to do. I have something I want to put in there. Give me a minute. So let's see here. This has absolutely nothing to do with this has absolutely nothing to do with what we're doing right here, but oh well, I'll just use it for sake of illustration. I'm going to copy this activity. This is a single activity. All right, it's a trigonometry one, but just for the sake of illustration, I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to add it. See how in the challenge chapter I have this here, right? And so if I view the book now, right? Notice I have just this. I have this right here. Okay, I have the new item added in there. But let me go back to my class. If I go to tasks overview, it looks like I have 16 tasks, right? But if I refresh the page, woo, I just got 4 more tasks thrown in there. So all of you who are in my class right now, refresh the URL right now. You will see more tasks to do. Thus, illustrating the fact that if you want to give students more tasks while class is in session, you can do so without having the need to create a new class. That is another awesome feature of GeoGebra Classroom. I'll say that again. If you choose to edit the original, if you create a GeoGebra class from a single activity or a GeoGebra book, which is a collection of activities, right? You can you take that class, your students start working on the work, on the tasks, right? If you go back and edit the original activity or book from which that class was created, and you save your changes, you have your students refresh their pages, you refresh your teacher overview page, your tasks overview page, I should say, then all the changes will update. And now you will see, if you go to the very end of the book, you will see the new tasks that you have in front of you. Yes, Farshid, very nice ability to adjust in the middle of instruction. Absolutely. Because man, those teachable moments, they come at times we don't expect. I mean, I know Farshid, you work with student teachers, and I'm sure there's others working with mathematics education. You know what? This is an awesome way to differentiate. It's an awesome way to just when a student asks a question, you just kind of turn it back on them and say, well, what do you think? And you just give them a platform now to do so. It's awesome. It's so awesome. Joe asks a great question. Are we able to confirm a student is who they say they are? If we see Jack's name, can we confirm it's Jack and Jill didn't type his name in and is just doing his work for him? Yeah, good question. At the moment, no. Okay. I know that if at the moment GeoGebra may have other ways, GeoGebra devs may come up with other ways to have students log in the class, you know, so if that's, I'll definitely pass that suggestion along when we have, you know, team meetings every couple times a week. I'll definitely pass that along because that is a good question too. But no, that's a very good point. All right. Yes, Elizabeth, I love it too. Love this platform. I just have so much fun with it. Now, here's what we're going to do. Time, man, it's 45 minutes past. This is crazy. So here's what we're going to do. I want to show everybody here how to make an activity from scratch very quickly. Okay, and you can actually do that. We at GeoGebra have created some sample templates for you to do so. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to GeoGebra. I'm going to go to my profile, and this was my class here. So I'm going to drag my class into this. It's the folder here. I think it was oh, it moved. There we go. So these are my class. I promise I do not plan on deleting these at all, just in case someone watches this webinar 2 months from now, they should be able to join the class. So again, if you delete a class like this, I'm not gonna, if you delete a class, then obviously the code is gonna be kaput, no good anymore, right? But those classes will stay there. So yeah, pretty nice. So in the GeoGebra Classroom tutorial that was released on Tuesday, again, right on GeoGebra's homepage, right here. If you go to, oh my gosh, Elizabeth, a lot of fun, yes. I'm sorry, I'm responding to these comments because they come in like 20 seconds after, and then I see it 40 seconds. It's funny. It's like a conversation where the spacing is like great. But we go back to this tutorial book here, and in the very in this last icon of the tutorial right here, this last activity page. Okay, I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to drop it in the YouTube live chat because I want you to have access to this. And if you are watching this YouTube video after it's live, then I will also put this link in the description of the video as well as the class links too. Give me 1 second. There. Okay. If you go there, if you go to that link there, that will take you right here. Okay. Now, in this particular activity page, there are 6 blank templates here, which are 6 of GeoGebra's main apps: GeoGebra Calculator Suite, the Graphing Calculator app, the Geometry app, the GeoGebra Classic app. Many of you love Classic. It's there. The CAS calculator is there, as well as the GeoGebra 3D calculator. So Tim, what do you mean by activity template? What does it mean? Well, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to take the geometry one just for sake of illustration. I'm going to click on this one right here. Now you'll notice that this is just there's nothing fancy here. It's just the geometry. It's a blank geometry app. Well, if I go back there, what about the calculator suite? Well, it's just a blank calculator suite. You see what I'm saying? So anytime you click any one of these hyperlinks, all it does, it gives you a nice convenient app that's 800 by 500 pixels. These apps are perfectly sized to fit on small Chromebook screens. Because many of you notice that when you go to the app itself on your web browser, you save a construction, and then when you open it up after as an activity, it's like, man, this thing is like 1600 by like 8 miles long, you know? Well, these have just been squished in both directions so that you can create activities from them quickly. So right here, again, I'm going to go to the geometry template, and I'm going to go here. Watch this. We're going to create an activity for you to do in a class in like a matter of 3 minutes. Watch this. I go up here. I go to copy activity. Just think, what do you do when you have a Google Doc that you can't have edit access to? You go to File, make a copy. Now it's yours now you own it and you can change it to your heart's content, right? So right here, I'm going to choose to copy this blank template, and I'm going to make a quick activity for you, my students in my webinar class here. So I'm going to call it webinar exit ticket or something like that, right? Yeah, I know. All right, so there we go. And I can edit, here. I'll say, okay, please construct an equilateral triangle. Spelled equilateral wrong, sorry. There we go. Okay, there you go. Oh, and by the way, be sure it passes the drag test. You all know what I mean when I say the drag test, right? I mean, I should be able to move the vertices around and it always stays equilateral. You know what I mean? So there's one thing I'm going to do. And then I could say, okay, you know what? Well, I can go ahead and ask a question here. Again, the question element, multiple choice, and check the right answers or open questions. I could say, okay, well, explain why your method of construction is valid. Justify why your construction is legit, But now I might want to give them something else. So you know what you could do with any one of these apps? This is my favorite buttons right here. You can copy. You can duplicate that exact element right here. Copy, boom. You can drag it above, below. You can put it where you want. Now see, I dragged it above. Let me put that question above there. You see, when I make a class out of this baby right here, this is going to be the first task. That's going to be the second task. This is going to be the third task here. And now I might say, hey, please construct a square without using the regular polygon tool. There is one down there. Right? And so obviously now that might be too much of a jump, compass and straight edge, students have to know how to construct a line perpendicular to a line with the point on it. You know what I mean? So kind of like that. So webinar exit ticket, whatever. I'll save and close it. So I created my activity, a blank template from scratch. And at any time, again, how do I go back and find my activity? Because I don't see it there. You always have to go back to your profile page. That's very important. Okay, and so now, right here, I'm back on my profile page. It's called webinar exit ticket. I want to show you one more thing before I make the class though. Edit activity here. Now, I want to show you, there's a lot of other elements you can add here. You can add a video, of course, like a YouTube URL. You could add a picture, an image, a PDF. You could add more questions. You could find other people's GeoGebra resources and apps and throw them in there yourself, you know. You could also, for the web, a lot of you teachers out there, you may like to use Google Forms or Google Slides where kids elaborate. If you embed, the HTML code for the Google Slides or the Google Form right here, it'll literally pop up right in there. Okay, and so you could have everything in one place. Now, granted, that Google Form is not going to become a task in GeoGebra Classroom, because remember, the only two items that become tasks in Classroom are apps and questions. Apps and questions, that's it. Those are the only two items from which you can create tasks within a class. If I create a GeoGebra page containing only like a video and text and a PDF, I can't make a class out of it because there's no element in that page that prompts a student to do something, if that makes sense. Okay, so right here, I'll just get rid of that. I'll close it, and now we make the class, and you can join it, and we'll do Q&A. We'll be done. So there's my webinar exit ticket. All right, and I'll go to create class from it. This is what it is right here, right? So create class, webinar exit ticket, create. The last class you'll have to join for the evening. Go right ahead, and I can also do some of you the favor by just copying that and saving you the effort of having to put it in there. Okay, so I'll just let the people who want to type it in first go right ahead. Yes, Geraldine, totally agree. Exit tickets are great ways to formatively assess and help pace and guide for the next day for sure. All right, so let you guys type in that right there. We go there, and so now let me drop. I'll drop. Maybe you're all waiting for me to drop it in YouTube. Silly me, sleeping at the wheel. All right, come on. Let's go here. There. There we go. You were all waiting for me to drop the URL in there. I'm sorry. It's too tired to type. For those of you in the Eastern Hemisphere, no excuse. It's morning for you now. Just kidding. So, you're very welcome. Very welcome, sir. Yeah, come on in, everybody. This is awesome. Okay. So when I go into my tasks overview page here, right, 5 out of 13 have done it here. Look at this. Now, if you could all, I'm not going to ask you to do task 3 because time is not going to allow for that, of course. That's a kind of you could do it, but it takes several steps to make the square, compass, and straight edge method. But if you could all go ahead and just, do the typical standard equilateral triangle construction, that'd be pretty cool. Again, I'm just watching the show here. I am able to see as a teacher where my students are in the progression of their construction, the progression of their learning, what they can demonstrate. You know what I mean? So right there, but I can also ask why. See, look at Karen. Karen's writing a novel over there. Man, it's so late. She's typing away. That's awesome. By the way, if you did not catch Karen's webinar last week, be sure you do so. It's on GeoGebra's YouTube channel. Action, consequence, reflection. And if GeoGebra Classroom had been around like back when I was creating a lot of these for my students and I was teaching full time, I would have designed some of my discovery lessons a lot differently had this existed. But hey, It's a work it's always a work in progress. So yeah, so we look at the 13 tasks here. Let's see what you build here. Yep, they're all changing again. Just go ahead and feel free. Let's see how fast we got 4 minutes left. If we could just see how fast these things change. Could all of you just go ahead and start moving your first app around? Like just start plotting a bunch of points and a bunch of lines. We could just make this really messy. I just want to see how fast these thumbnails can change with all of you on. It's just for the fun of it. But if you don't want to ruin your construction, you totally don't have to, right? Yeah. So, and again, at any one time, I can go ahead and say, look at Roger's work. I can save Roger's work and send it to him. But right now, again, student work does not save at the moment, but the GeoGebra devs know about that, and they're brainstorming solutions. Again, the GeoGebra team, some of the most brilliant and amazing, hardworking, dedicated people I know. They are awesome, totally awesome. And I am no app developer or code or anything, but what they come up with just blows my mind. So, yeah. So anyhow, that's GeoGebra Classroom for you. And again, just to show you one more thing here. All right, you'll notice here that in the GeoGebra Classroom tutorial, which I'll just go right here. Do you notice in the tutorial that the words, the button create class does not appear up here? But it appears in almost like every other activity or book that you find. Can anybody in the YouTube chat, can anybody tell me why the create class button did not appear? Did not appear in this GeoGebra book at all whatsoever? I know I have to wait like 20 or 40 seconds because of the time delay, but let's see. Again, I'll ask my question again. Why is it that the classroom tutorial, the official tutorial that GeoGebra put out, has no create class button up here? There is a logical reason why. There's your exit ticket right there. You have to type in the response why, but of course, once the first person does, everybody's gonna type the same thing. That's okay. But let's see. Yeah, actually, Luke, that can be done. A student could save work to their GeoGebra profile, and then they could just put that hyperlink. Remember that time I saved your work, or if it was Roger's work or whatever? I forgot whose work I saved, but it was in my profile page here. But no, I could, if I really wanted to. Oh, Mike's work. If I were to go here, Luke, and go to open an app, I could take this and just drop that right in Google Classroom right there. But if you're gonna assign work for students to do outside of the classroom, then I would recommend doing that in Google Classroom. If you go to I think it's on my YouTube page, but if you look up Google Classroom and GeoGebra, how to integrate it, it's very easy. Student work saves, and students don't need GeoGebra accounts actually. Okay, but I'll answer that question here. Not that it's more than one activity, Joe, because this is a book, remember? But the reason why the create class button does not appear here is because none of these items have apps or questions. Remember, again, key idea. If you want to create a class from a GeoGebra activity or a GeoGebra book, that activity or that book has to have at least one app or one question. This is a picture, actually. This is a picture. We actually had to fool the system and put pictures in here so people didn't get confused and create class up here, right? And so all of these items have .png files. These are all pictures and videos. You see what I mean? So that's why, because this book has no apps in it and it has no questions, that's why the create class button did not appear at the very top here. All right. So hello, Fanny from Argentina. Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Yeah. So that is GeoGebra Classroom. We hope you enjoy using it. We wish you and your students much success with using this interface in a virtual setting or in an in-class setting.